War Eagle, War Rapport family. I'm your host, C-Dub, and Auburn is this year's SEC regular season champions. We will review yesterday's game as well as the victory against Mississippi State on the road last week and what all this means going into the SEC tournament. So, guys, you definitely want to stick around for a great show we have planned for you guys. For now, sit back, get your weight up because your weekend tailgate begins now.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dog, Mike G. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle. I'm joined by Mike G, Ike Jones, B. Will. You are watching the latest Weekend Tailgate brought to you by our show sponsor, University Ace Hardware. For your hardware needs, Ace is the place for you. And if you happen to be in the Auburn area, please be sure to stop by at 210 University Drive. Let them know that your friends at the War Rapport sent you there. Also, shout out to those of you who are watching us live or on replay. Do us a favor. If you're on social media, please be sure to share this video. Use hashtag #GetYourWeightUp. Help people to find our content. Let's help us grow our community. Now, you need to become a patron of the War Rapport. And Mike G's here to tell you all about it.
Hey, patron memberships. We got them. You need them. $5.99. Hit that page. Click the join button. Put in some credit card information. Get yourself a patron membership. If you haven't been seeing these basketball breakdowns that Ike is doing, it's because it's patron only. You definitely need to get up on that. We are doing a lot of great stuff here at the War Rapport. Basketball content is one of them. So going into the SEC tournament and ultimately the NCAA tournament, we've got a lot of great content planned for you guys. I'm hoping that that's at least a 3-week ride for us in the NCAA tournament. But we got to start with the SEC tournament. So Ike's going to be breaking things down. He did a Jabari Smith kind of expose that was very enlightening. That's a future first-round draft pick, maybe a first overall pick. Ike's going to be breaking down his draft prospects and all kinds of things. So become a patron to get a part of that. Now, this is the best way to support our content. We're growing at the War Rapport. We've got a lot of great content planned for you guys. So if you haven't seen these interviews with Robbie Ashford, tomorrow we got TJ Finley coming up. So become a patron. Help us keep this content flowing for you. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. So help us hashtag save all the puppies by going to the About section of our YouTube channel. Click the link. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them save all the puppies. That's what we're trying to do here. So this is a good that we've chosen to put back in the world. You can help us and them by donating today. We appreciate everybody who's going to go over there and do that. We're giving away a hoodie today, Lobtown. So in honor, you know what? Do we want to do something special as SEC champs? Do we want to give away 2 hoodies today, maybe?
I ain't mad at it.
All right. Hey, let's give away 2 hoodies today. We're going to give away 2. We're going to draw twice today. There will be 2 winners today in honor of Auburn winning the SEC regular season crown. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We're going to pull at the hour mark, but you got to be here to win. So hashtag get your weight up. Maybe make sure you get that spelling up too, because if you don't, it might not count. And we're going to give away some fly gear to you guys for hanging with us all basketball season. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments to get on that. If for some reason you don't win, you can just go ahead and buy one. Go to thewarreport.com, click the catalog link, and check out all the gear that we have in there. We've got some great stuff in our merch store. Now, we're on podcasts. Check us out on every single podcast platform. That's Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, Podbean, Amazon. We're everywhere. We're climbing the podcast charts right now, putting out podcast exclusive content at this point. Ike and Brian did one. We did one with Auburn memes from Twitter. Guys, we're bringing you guys even more content via podcast, so check that out, please. Want to shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. If you've been seeing these segments, we've been doing these before every game. Go to prizepicks.com. Use code rapport to get a bonus when you sign up. So they've been a great partner for us so far this offseason. We're hoping to continue that relationship with them. You can help us by signing up for a Prize Picks account today. Man, I think that's all I got. I think that's all the things. It's all the things.
All the things, right?
All the things.
Well, let's start with a big thing here. War damn ATL. Appreciate you, man. War Eagle from Vegas. He just
Hey.
placed a bet for AU to go all the way.
That's my man. My man.
Speaking of which,
Why not?
Mike G, this is kind of your annual thing. Have you done so? Have you followed suit?
No, in 2019, I put a large sum of money on Auburn to win it all. And when Virginia double dribbled, I did not win it. I think I was getting 75-1 on that bet at the time. They thought there was no chance Auburn was going to sniff a championship. And it cost me about 10 G's when we did not win it. So I was sad, but hopefully he's getting pretty good odds. I mean, it's since about mid-season I've been checking those win everything odds, and they haven't been great. So like there is some reasonable expectation that Auburn's going to go really deep in this tournament and have a chance at it. So I usually like betting the underdog. I'm going to do it in football this year. We're definitely going to do it in football this year. Those odds are going to be crazy.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah,
They're going to be crazy. It's going to be like 300-1 or something crazy like that.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, let's go ahead and get into it. Last week, AU ended their road game losing streak to Mississippi State. They won in overtime 81-68. That win helped Auburn clinch at the very least a share of the SEC regular season championship. All those things were great, but what was actually encouraging in that game was actually the reemergence of KD Johnson. He actually scored 12 of his 14 in overtime, actually outscored Mississippi State by himself 12-7. He came on strong and actually helped push Auburn forward. I think they scored 20 in overtime alone. B, I know you've been very kind of down on KD as of late. He has been kind of struggling in some games. How important was it for KD to come through in the clutch in a game that Auburn needed against Mississippi State on the road?
So I am of two minds of KD coming through in overtime on last week to win us the game. Now, first of all, he won us the game. Straight up. He won us the game. I mean, a lot of things could have bounced differently, so we didn't have to go to overtime, but 0-0, 5 minutes, KD was entirely the difference for us. So that is always a win. And for what he is as an emotional player, he needs to be able to do that and be successful at it. What we've seen for the last month, though, was him attempting to do that at different times. If he doesn't get the call, if he gets called for a charge, if he turns the ball over, it's like it's compounding frustration, and every time he gets back down the court, his energy builds up so he can make a singular play that will get back all the frustration that he has just built up by turning the ball over, by missing a shot, by getting a charge. And that's when he's more erratic, and the refs are already going to be erratic because it's college basketball. So we can't ever be sure that when KD comes down the court and tries to get his way to the basket, that he's going to be called accurately. And because we can't be sure of that, we need KD's energy and his focus, but we don't need him to be so emotional that he becomes erratic. Frustration fouls from a turnover, bad pass, looking to drive and shake and bake and being out of control going to the lane sometimes. I love that he got it done for us at Mississippi State. And I'm glad that he was, again, effective at home in yesterday's game. I'm still concerned about what that means for KD on a day-to-day basis. Ike has pointed out a lot of times, not only in the film he's done, but in the group chat, we're all talking during the games. Man, KD made a pass right there that he wouldn't have made 2 weeks ago, a month ago. He wouldn't have made that pass early in the season. He made a pass on a play. Bruce called the timeout at the end of the first half, drew up a play.
I don't think it went exactly to plan, but the pass KD made, it's like, ooh, he was looking. And he made a great pass that ended up with points for us. How much can he do that? Can he do that when he's hyped up and we're down and he's trying to get it all back? Can he do that? I want him to be able to do that because KD at his best is great for us. We've seen it. He won the game for us. Was it at Mizzou? Yeah. He won the game for us at Mizzou in similar fashion. He won the game for us at Mississippi State. We want him to be able to do that when he's not getting the whistles. When he's turning the ball, well, we don't want him to turn the ball over, but I don't know if KD can consistently be more like, I guess, Draymond in the sense of I am going to be fiery and intense all the time, but my play is going to be mostly even-keeled. That's the difference between KD and Draymond. Draymond, he's probably way too much as a personality and emotionally on the field, on the court, but he also, his play is even. He does the same things. He's looking for the same things, and he's able to execute consistently. KD's execution is affected by his emotion, and that's what that makes us a bit of a wild card. And I don't want it to be a wild card. I want it to be something we can count on. Has he turned a corner, or was Mississippi State just the worst road team that we have played in this stretch of the last month? So we were able to get over on them. Florida might be better than Mississippi State. I don't know. The records are a little iffy on that. Tennessee's definitely a better team. Arkansas is a better team. I don't know. I guess we will see going forward. We got an entire tournament where home court won't allow us to simply overpower people with momentum, but it also won't allow other people to overpower us with their momentum and their home court. So it's going to be a toss-up these last, I don't know, man. The SEC tournament might be the best one in a minute because of how even a lot of the teams at the top are. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping KD can be a big part of it.
Mike G, talk to me, man. Your thoughts on KD in that game. I mean, going into overtime, he only had 2 points, I believe it was 4 turnovers in the game. So he wasn't having a good game, and he just exploded. Your thoughts on him going into this tournament?
Well, 4 for 8, right? He didn't take a ton of shots. He went 4 for 8 for 14 points, and he hit all his free throws.
Yeah,
which were critical. He went 5 for 5 from the free throw line. So you need him to be about right there. Not taking too many shots, but making a good percentage of the shots that he takes. I know you could probably say that for any player, but when he's scoring like that, Auburn is very hard to beat, difficult to beat, because he's always going to give you the energy and the effort on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to go out there, he's going to make hustle plays. Even on Saturday, you saw like they were just trying to inbound the ball, and he wouldn't let them do it. And he tips it to himself and drives it for a layup. I mean, the effort and the energy is always going to be there. You just want him to, I saw him take some mid-range shots these last couple games that I'm like, where has that been? From the elbow inside the arc. And he shoots those balls at a pretty high clip. So I'd like to see more of that rather than the step back 30-foot threes. But yeah, I mean, Bruce has said repeatedly that this team is at its best when everybody contributes. KD Johnson plays way too many minutes to not contribute and be on the court for as much as he is. So KD Johnson gives us that extra element that just makes Auburn, because we know, Jabari is going to get his. To some extent, Kessler is going to get his if he stays out of foul trouble. And when you add a third option to that, it makes Auburn really difficult to beat, and it opens up the court for other guys to make plays as well, too. When we don't have that third option, we're limited because guys load up on Jabari, and he has to hit Superman shots, or, they just try to take Kessler out of the game. I think him and Zep Jasper essentially moving forward are going to be two of our most important offensive pieces to help keep defenses honest. So it's good. I'm glad that he hasn't lost any confidence, man. In that overtime, he hit a big 3. And that's the kind of shot that you need him to make. He was only 1 for 3. It was the only one he hit. But he hit it at the right time. And having a guy like that can just take over overtime like that I don't know that anybody else was going to step up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that anybody else was in a mental space to step up and take over that game the way he did in overtime. And Mississippi State definitely wasn't expecting it. So talk about a body blow, man. We need to see that. And to do it on the road too added an extra element that I think is going to be very important for Auburn moving forward, because there are no more home games left. Now, if you listen to that game, our crowd was loud in their arena. Man, they were loud. I expect the same down in Tampa. We're going to travel, and there's a very large Auburn alumni base in Tampa anyway. So it should be fun to watch. But, to B's point, you're not going to have the home crowd feeling you. So you got to go. Every game's a road game from here on in. And you got to go in, you got to get the job done. But KD Johnson is going to be a big part of that. So hopefully this is the start of another one of those streaks for him. Hopefully the slump is over, and we just need him to do it for about 7 more games, right? 7 or 8 more games.
Ike, talk to me, man. We were not on our last show. I mentioned Zep Jasper being a part of the offense, and he contributed 11 points in the game against Mississippi State. Hit 3 3-pointers, 3 or 4 beyond the arc. And to me, let's talk about how important he will be, to Mike's point, because it seems as though when he is able to contribute offensively, we know the value he brings to this team defensively, but when he's able to actually contribute, it seems as though it takes a little bit of pressure off of the KDs, off of our guys to actually score points, because usually it means Wendell doesn't force the offense as much, because they're actually getting production elsewhere. So how important will it be in the SEC tournament as well as the NCAA tournament for Zep, maybe not even have to score 11 points, but able to hit a 3 here to keep the defense, give them something to think about?
Yeah, I mean, it's crucial. Zep being able to contribute offensively makes it a different proposition for defenses to try to figure out. And he's a good shooter, right? So like he really just needs to make 1 or 2 to keep people honest, and not, because at that point, what you're going to end up having happen is if we go to this 3-guard lineup, which we saw first in Mississippi State, the outside shooting ability of a Zep Jasper makes it easier for Wendell to be able to operate, right? Because Wendell, listen, so a lot of people owe Wendell some apologies. I'm sorry, because the way he's distributing the basketball and finding the right person, making the right play in these last couple of games, I think it's been overblown, his shot selection situation. I know he has been making a lot of shots, but if Zep Jasper's going to make open threes and we can go to that 3-guard lineup, that's tough, man. That's a tough thing. And so he's definitely crucial to being able to be in a space where we can be more, we can still be sound defensively, but we can be more aggressive offensively and stretch defenses out or spread it out a little bit more. And that gives Jabari more room to operate, who has been a little more aggressive of late with putting the ball on the floor, all of those sorts of things that we've been asking for him to do. So, yeah, Zep Jasper is crucial.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's talk about rebounds. Against Mississippi State out-rebounded us 50-32. Mississippi State had 21 offensive boards in that game, which gave them actually 10 more possessions, 10 or 14. I think I may be confusing the two, but I think between Tennessee, they out-rebounded us 54-31, and they had 21 boards as well. So between Mississippi State, Tennessee, you had at least 10 extra possessions that the opposing teams had. We ended up having to go into overtime to win it against Mississippi State. Tennessee, we ended up losing by 2 possessions due to them having at least 10 more possessions than what we had. So going into this tournament, our defensive rebounding, and granted, these were the 2 games that stand out because I think against South Carolina, it was pretty even in rebounding. But these 2 games, we were rebounded. The other team out-rebounded us significantly. how important is this going to be, and how much of a concern is this moving forward? Because what I'm seeing is we know that Auburn's going to go through its highs and lows in a game shooting. They'll get cold, then they'll heat up, but their defense usually keeps us in games. But the problem is if you're not getting rebounds after playing good defense, you're basically giving teams another chance to take advantage of our shooting slumps. And so going into the tournament, how critical is it that we not have these 50 to 32 rebounding statistics that we've had in these two games where it was tight or we lost or we needed overtime to win? I'll go with you, my G.
Yeah, like this is kind of a recent phenomenon, right? This whole we're getting suddenly out rebounded like crazy. Against Tennessee, I at first I just thought, I was like, man, these are some awkward rebounds, right? I mean, they were shooting hard bricks. It looked like they were playing with dodgeballs, the way they were bouncing off the goal. And I just thought to myself, okay, that's maybe a one-off. But this is concerning. Now, if you listen to Pearl in the last post game, he talked about how we're, again, what we've been saying, the identity of this team is defense. That's what they do. And it's going to be difficult because if you ever have a defensive lapse, which we really haven't seen them do this season, I don't know if I can point to one game and say we broke down on defense. I think we've defended well in almost every game. Now, they may have had like short stints where the other team was just hitting tough shots. But for the most part, I can't really look at any game that we played this year and say that was bad defense. We played well. So can you score enough points for everybody to win and for you to win? And giving the other team second and third chances offensively does make your job, it's a lot more defense you have to play. All the extra possessions, and eventually somebody gets hot and hits a crazy shot, or, it's making it hard on yourself. So, I heard the announcer say during our last game that the tough thing about Auburn is that even when they can survive their shooting droughts, because they're not going to let you score either. If we're not scoring, you're not scoring. Right. That's pretty much what it's been like this season. So, I just think where Auburn is at right now, I'm not sure. I'm not concerned about our ability to be able to rebound. It's really difficult to diagnose. There have been times where Cambridge was a beast on the boards for a stretch. Jalen Simpson, I've seen these guys go after rebounds. So I don't think effort in rebounding. Oh, did I say Simpson?
Yeah.
Shows you how many Jalen's I know. I've seen him go after rebounds, but I'm not sure. I'm not convinced that it's going to be a problem long term, because we have rebounded well. There was one game we had where we had like over 60 total rebounds. They were rebounding like crazy. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, you can't get beat on the offensive board. It certainly makes your job a lot harder if you're going to get beat on the boards every night. And it lowers the prospects that you're going to win against tougher teams, because once you get into that Sweet 16, man, getting out-rebounded like that is not an option. Right. It isn't. You cannot give good teams second and third chances to beat you, because they're definitely going to beat you. So I'm not sure I'm super concerned about it, but I want to see how we do in this first round of the SEC tournament. Yeah. What kind of game is Auburn going to play, and do they keep them off the boards? I wonder though if how they've been calling fouls has affected how we're rebounding as well too. Sometimes the guys seem a little timid out there because the referees have been quick on the whistle with our guys, and then alternatively swallowing the whistle on the other end. At some point, that has to affect how you play the game, right? Like, every time I give effort and go after a rebound, they're calling a foul. And particularly for a guy like Kessler. Yeah. And when he gets in foul trouble, we're a different team. Yeah. We're a really different team. I've said it before. I think he's not our best player, but he is our most important player. And he's just fighting for rebounds, and he's getting fouls called on him. It changes the game. So I hope we get. I'm not one to complain about the refs, but I do hope that we get some better officiating down the stretch here, so that the narrative is not, oh, so and so got in foul trouble on ticky tack fouls where we were fighting for rebounds, and I don't know, man. It's been frustrating watching how the game has gone for us, even in some of the wins. But rebounding, I hope there's not a carryover. Is all I can say about it. I've seen us do it well, extremely well, and I've seen us do it extremely poorly. And I don't know which is which at this point. So maybe you guys have some thoughts on where we're at with it.
Well, there's a comment I think B, you wanted to kind of follow up on. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, Harvey put this up here. I think the rebounding is a product of teams shooting threes and deep shots, which leads to long rebounds.
Yeah.
We are so good defensively that they are shooting really bad. They're not shooting bad shots. They are affected mentally inside by Kessler. Like they point out plenty of times, even when he doesn't actually block the shot, they are throwing at really high arcs, and it's really weird. So your traditional rebounding position may not be as effective if they're throwing at different angles, really high arcs, or from really deep three because the shot clock is winding down. All that leads to those are worse shots, different types of rebounds, and truly, Kessler is usually deep when it comes to the rebounding. If it's slightly longer than that, then he's not going to get that. And we do need a second person who's focused on rebounding because of what Cambridge, and that's why Cambridge was so effective, is he's not going to really be doing a lot of cutting, going to the basket with the ball in his hands, handling the ball. So it made sense to put him down there and say, hey, this is your job right now. You get the rebounds. The same thing for Jalen Williams. But I don't know. It makes me wonder what's happened in the last couple of weeks. Have people seen how we want to rebound and try to, get those guys off of their spots? I have no idea why we have been so poorly so severely out rebounding so poorly. But I do think at least some of it is how well we defend. We are affecting our ability to get easier rebounds. But it still doesn't account entirely for exactly how badly we've been out rebounded between Tennessee and Mississippi State. That's a bit of a puzzle to me.
Any thoughts, Ike, on this?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is a lot of what Harvey is talking about a lot of 3-pointers, because we give up a lot of open looks from three because of how we defend. It's a very frenetic pace and just kind of running at people. I think the thing, and I need to look at this and see, early in the season, our guards were rebounding really well, specifically Wendell Green Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a byproduct of long rebounds, right? Like he wasn't in there, grabbing boards down amongst the trees. He was just picking up those scrappy, 10-foot and out rebounds, and he was just first to it. I think it'd be interesting to look and see whether or not his rebounding production has dropped off and what is happening from the guard position, because that's where you're going to get a lot of those carom rebounds happening. And that's really what was happening mostly against Tennessee. It was not first effort. It was got tipped around, or it was a long rebound that somebody went and tracked down. And so I do think that would be an interesting stat to go and take a look at and see whether or not our guard position is rebounding particularly well, specifically on the defensive glass, because you can't fast break if you don't have the ball, right? So an outlet's not necessary. If it's an offensive rebound and Wendell's not in there fighting for it, I'm not mad at it because he needs to get back, or KD needs to get back. Somebody's got to play deep. But if it's a defensive rebound, it's got to be 5 guys going in there to make sure that we secure the possession first, because as you guys have already stated, and has been stated in some of the broadcasts, it doesn't matter if you have a great defensive possession if you're just going to give them a second one, because now you have to, instead of playing 23 seconds of great defense, you're going to stretch that to 30, 40 seconds of great defense, and that tires you out. So
you're usually out of position.
The guards. Yeah,
you're usually out of position for the second possession anyway. So it's almost like an easier chance for them to make a bucket at that point. So
have you guys noticed? It seems like there have been a lot of lazy rebounds where the ball is just kind of bouncing around and nobody's going after it. Like they're already running back down the court. Is it
that's
not
what
a
I'm
thing
saying. Like,
to
I don't know
follow your shot
situation. Yeah, so that's the thing that I think is most interesting, is the following of the shot one.
Follow your shot, yeah.
The guy will shoot and then just kind of backpedal, like I know that's going to drop regardless of where it is. And it's just one of those kind of fundamental basketball things of like, don't be so hasty to think it was a made bucket. If you followed it, it's going to come right back to you in a lot of those instances. And we probably would have been able to get second possessions a lot more had we followed our own shots and corralled those misses. So that happened. That happens quite a bit, honestly, for our players.
Yeah, I've been noticing it. They don't seem to follow their shots a lot, right? And there are rebounds that we could get, but you're already running back down the court. And I'm not a basketball expert, which is why I'm asking the question. Like, is that something that's coached, right, to follow your shot, or like, you know, or is that, like you said, or is it just cockiness?
You when you're playing, that's kind of fundamental basketball, following your shot type of thing. But yeah, I do think some of it is just it's a mental lapse of like, oh man, yeah, I'm supposed to do that. So
isn't some of it though that when you follow your shot, you take yourself out of position in case they do get the ball quickly, and then
I mean, yeah, but still, you're at the ball though. Like the ball is going to be where the ball is going to be, right? So you're the one that shot it. Somebody else can get back, right? Like it just needs to be a situation where people understand what their responsibility is in that moment, especially if it's like a corner three situation, right? And the ball's coming back down to the corner.
That's different. I'm thinking top of the key mostly.
Yeah, top of the key misses is a little bit different, but you still have to, like, again, the ball is what's most important. And so, you know, if you're going to shoot and miss, if you just follow that up really quickly, you can be where the ball is. So
I blame Steph Curry for that. A lot of kids watching him just shoot the ball and turn back the other way. But.
Yeah, there was a clip of that, of him saying, "Stop blaming me for this." There's a clip of Steph Curry saying, "Stop tagging me and all these bad logo threes. These are bad shots." And then at the end he goes, "I probably would have taken that shot too, but stop tagging me." And these bad shots. I saw it yesterday.
That's hilarious. Before we get to the break, we did a facts or nos segment to preview the Mississippi State game. And one of the facts or nos that we talked about was how many gummies are we going to need in this game? And we all
guys
collectively
were confident that you didn't need anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't never worried about the outcome of the game, but I will say this: with that 14-point spread, buddy, somebody was heated. Somebody was heated because we had it up to what, 17 at one point? Or was it more than that?
I think it was like 20, wasn't it?
It was a lot. And
it was a lot.
One dude was shooting out of his mind for South Carolina. I can't remember his name.
No, I'm talking about Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
Oh, we're talking about the Mississippi State game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't remember then.
Yeah, Mississippi State, y'all did the live facts or nos segment, and Mike took the gummy out and split it in half. And he's like, "This is all I'm gonna need." And was like,
that's right. He was talking that big.
It was all of us. No one said two.
Nobody said more, but he wanted to demonstrably on screen take out this all.
It was definitely a two gummy kind of night.
Yeah, listen. In my defense, I just felt like we were due on the road. Like, you know, it just
and we ended up winning.
Yeah, we started.
It wasn't easy.
Yeah, it started out great, and then we had that scoring drought that inevitably comes. And you know, hats off to Mississippi State. They had a lot of fight in them, certainly. But when we went to overtime, I was like, I'm gonna need to pop the other half of this gummy because overtime has not been our friend this year.
Yeah.
That
was our first trip to overtime that we actually won.
We won. Yeah. So it was they took us on a little ride there, but being able to overcome it, I think is going to be big for this team's psyche going into the tournament. I mean, did we win it? We won at least one overtime game in the 2019 tourney, did we not? I think we went to overtime with Kentucky.
I don't recall.
We had an overtime game, I thought, during that stretch. I could be wrong, but you need to be able to close out tough games, and they did it. And the SEC, I've said this a lot, and I'll say it again, the SEC was a murderer's row this year.
Oh, for sure.
There were not a ton of gimmies anywhere in the SEC on the road. I mean, we
except Georgia. I mean,
that game was tough.
Ask Alabama.
You said on the road, yeah, like at somebody's home building. Yeah, it's hard to win on the road, man.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I mean, even Georgia pulled out some wins versus Alabama. Like, I was looking at our schedule and I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, this was hard. And a lot of people are just, I think, who would you say is the best conference in college basketball other than the SEC right now?
Probably Big 12, maybe.
Big 12?
Or Big 10. Probably Big 10. Big 10.
Probably
Big
Big
10.
10, yeah.
I go Big
Big
10.
10 probably.
Yeah,
top to
the
bottom.
SEC, the ACC's not doing too hot this year. I don't think.
No, it's Duke and everybody else. North Carolina came on strong towards the end of the year, but it's mostly Duke. It's mostly.
So with the way the schedule panned out, I'm thinking we got 6 solid tournament teams, so far. And when you're looking at those teams, God, any one of them could be dangerous, right? Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, and Tennessee, all definitely going to make the tourney. And now I think that Florida has an outside shot to sneak in. Maybe
they're going to have to do some work in this tournament.
They're the only other team I think that has a shot to get in realistically without winning the SEC tourney, and maybe Texas A&M. I don't know, like
Florida A&M. That's going to be an elimination game.
I was about to say they're playing each other first game of their first game in the tournament is against one another.
Yeah,
there you go.
Elimination game.
So Texas A&M is going to probably have to win the SEC tourney to get in. But if Florida goes on a run to like the title game or something, they could get in. They could sneak in. They're like in the Lenardi has them as in the next 4 out. Mm-hmm. But to make that title game, they're gonna have to win some impressive games. So
I mean, they got to beat us, which also I'm hoping that they don't get in.
Right, facts. So like when you look at our schedule, what did we finish? 27-4.
4.
Right. Mm-hmm. This was an impressive 27-4.
For sure.
It was a really impressive 27-4. You lost 3 games in conference only, but going down to the last week, there were at least 3 teams we could have shared this with 2 other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Tennessee and Arkansas played each other, so one of them was going to get eliminated, and then Kentucky. Right. Could have been a 3-way tie for the SEC regular season crown. I think there is a big accomplishment for Auburn this year to sack up and close out South Carolina to win it outright. I think that's a great achievement for this team because you have one of the best seasons you ever have in program history. You don't want to share the title with anybody,
right?
That kind of waters it down in my book. So I was glad that we won it outright, and then you going into it, Florida was the only game that we lost to what might be a non-tournament team.
Yeah.
And a lot of other schools have losses to, much weaker opponents on their schedule. So, we'll see. I got something for Gonzaga fans as soon as this.
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, this tournament starts.
I'm confident that you do. Well, guys, listen, let us know your thoughts. Definitely. You're already doing that in the comments based on the things we've discussed. Be sure, show us some love, guys. Hit the like button on this video as you're watching. We're going to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Rapport.
The War Rapport's Weekend Tailgate Show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Hey, become a patron. So we've got a lot of great content coming for you guys. We're bringing you great content. Check out some of these basketball breakdowns Ike is doing. You guys know the deal. This is a great way to support our content. Help us continue to grow at the War Rapport by becoming a patron. You can find the join button on the front page of our YouTube channel. If you're on an iPhone, you may not see that button, but rest assured, fret not. Just get on a computer. You'll see it. Put in the same login information and your patron perks will transfer to your mobile device. So thanks everybody for signing up. We're partnering with the Lee County Humane Society to #save all the puppies. So You can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. Help us help them do some good in the world, guys. This is what we've chosen to do. We really want to help them. So if you could donate now, 50 cents on every dollar donated goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them in their mission to save all the puppies. We appreciate you guys for supporting that cause. We're giving away a Lobtown hoodie. We're giving away 2 Lobtown hoodies in honor of Auburn's regular season SEC title. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments if you haven't already. I think Ike is tracking that now. So hopefully we've got a good bit of you guys in there to win this. Hashtag get your weight up. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. Give him a digital high five for bringing you guys these giveaways. Now, if you don't win, you can just buy one. Go to thewarreport.com and you'll find all our merch there ready for consumption. We're on podcast, guys, so check us out on every single podcast platform. We're climbing the podcast charts here, so we're trying to get this part of our of the War Rapport going. And we have it's not just not all of it is not just a rehash. We actually are doing podcast exclusive content now. So there's some discussions if you want to hear easy listen on the road on your way to work. Check us out on podcast. So download, subscribe, drop us a review, let them know that the War Rapport is the place for you. Now, special shout out to prizepicks.com. If this is a great way to have some fun with basketball and make a little money. So I guess been on a little bit of a roll lately. We do a segment to help you guys through this. If you don't know what this is about, we do a whole segment where we show you before every game, hours before every game, so that you can get in on the fun and win yourself a little cash. So sign up for Prize Picks. They're a great sponsor. Just you guys signing up for an account certainly helps us, keep these sponsors on and keep the War Rapport growing. Last but not least, shout out to our title sponsor, University Ace Hardware. Go check them out at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, next to the movie theater. They have been a prolific sponsor this season. Came on early, stayed on all season. We love our guy, David. So for all your hardware needs and home improvement projects, Ace is the place.
Agreed. Listen, Auburn is evidently the place too for the SEC regular season champions, because that's who they are now. Auburn won yesterday. Not nearly as much drama as it was against Mississippi State, but Auburn wins the regular season championship outright, beating South Carolina 82-71. Yesterday's victory secures Auburn as the number 1 seed in this week's upcoming SEC tournament. AU will indeed, as we mentioned earlier, they will face the winner of the Texas A&M Florida matchup, and they will face them on Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. I believe that's correct. I believe that's right. The latest SEC regular season championship is AU's 4th in program history, the 2nd since 2018. Now, Auburn has also won the SEC tournament in 2019, making it 3 championships in the last 4 years or so. So we talk about this win and its significance and kind of where Auburn is in the past few years, and something that the guys on the SEC Now was talking about, seeing as though yesterday's game was on the SEC Network. They made a great point about how important this season was in terms of Bruce's ability to bring talent to Auburn. If you are a one and done type player who's looking for somewhere to play for a year, look no further than Jabari Smith and what we did for him. He was able to win, also boost his draft stock. If you're at another big program and you're looking for a fresh start, look no further than Walker Kessler. We've had good seasons in the past. I mean, we've had Chuma Okeke, we've had Isaac Okoro, but to bring in these types of talents and to have the type of season we're having this year, to me, seems like a very big deal moving forward. So my question to you guys is, in your opinion, what impact do you think this season alone will have for Auburn in terms of national reception, recruiting, the whole nine? I'll start with you, B.
I think it needs to end well. What we don't need to do is start off on the run that we've had. We very much had to lobby. Well, it wouldn't have affected the Rangers, but We felt we should have been number one sooner during the season, and we were really on the tails of all the writers and people who were voting. We got game day to come down, and they're singing our praises. They're singing Jabari's praises, and Jabari's development, Isaac Okoro's development, what they did over the course of the season here, what Okoro has been able to do in the league. The same for Chuma, what he's been able to do. He's been flashed in Orlando. Orlando isn't a very good team, which is why we won't hear more about it, but Chuma Okeke is making a difference on that roster. Isaac Okoro is making a really big difference defensively and when he gets his opportunities offensively for the Cavs, who are now a really good team in the NBA. So we've seen the effect that players who come through here are having on the next level. As far as this team goes, the number one ranking is great. First time here. Bruce earned his stripes when he got a team of 2, 3, 4-star guys to the Final Four. That was, and he said that the following year, he said, I'm able to get in the room with some players that I wasn't able to before we made that Final Four. And now I can get there. So now that conversation with Isaac Okoro can happen. It may not have happened before. That conversation with Jabari can happen. It may not have happened before. And if I'm looking at Jabari's development over the course of this season, we noted outright, like, listen, man, I don't know if he has the give me the ball and I'm going to do it the first, 15 games. Over the last 3 weeks, though, no, he's got it. We've taken note of his lack of willingness to put the ball on the floor the first half of the season. Now he's not the best ball handler. He's not there yet. But what he will do is take you off the dribble more willingly. At first, I felt like every time he got the ball in the open court, he's looking for the guard to give it to. But now, you know what? No, take that ball up, man. Turn around and face up. Don't just back him down and take the turnaround shot. And he's doing it. He is improving. Our best players, our one-and-done guys, get here, they improve, and then they go to the league. So, yes, that is great for the program. As far as the team goes, though, we need to not go out of the SEC tournament the first game or even the second game that we play. We need to make, at the very least, a Sweet 16, and we don't need to lose to a Cinderella team that's like a 14 seed when we get there either. We have to show that what was put on display during the regular season was not a fluke, that it was not a product of teams just hadn't figured out what we do yet. And I don't think that we will go out with a whimper because what we do best is defense. That being what we're best at is going to give us the opportunity to win any game against anybody we play. We know what our weaknesses are. Bruce is so open. He's really refreshing to talk to. Hey, we got out rebounded. Our offense can come and go, but we're a defensive team. We just got to figure a couple things out, and I think we will, and we'll be good. That's the game for the rest of the season. Every team that you face, you can beat if you do just enough on the offensive end because your effort is there, your defense is there. Rebounding is it's a weird thing for this team, for Bruce, because he's an effort coach, and we do put forth that effort on defense, but to not get it on rebounding is really confounding. And I think if he solves that puzzle, honestly, we could win every game from now. If we rebound evenly with teams, we win every game we play. Unless somebody has a just stupid 3-point type of game, which is possible because it's basketball and it can happen. But rebounding straight up is really all we would need. So I hope he does whatever he needs to do. And Ike has noted it on some film breakdowns we talked about in the Slack. We're running some different action for some different guys. It's happening. He's not going to do it all game because why would you? If your bread and butter is working, then you let it run and you save some of the other stuff for the teams who are going to be a lot tougher to beat. But I think he's got it. And no matter what the outcome of this season is, as long as it's not a terrible loss, like round of 32 loss, that's not acceptable. Like I said, first game we play in the SEC tournament going out, that's not acceptable. If we don't have those type of losses, this wouldn't be another feather in Bruce's hat. I saw a Wheel of Fortune meme video talking about feather in the cap, feather in the hat. It was hilarious. I'll explain it to y'all later. But yeah, this will be a successful campaign as long as we don't get embarrassed in the SEC tourney or the NCAA tourney.
Thoughts, Ike, Mike, someone?
Yeah, I mean, so I think at this point it is a good thing. I think what you've been able to prove specifically in the Jabari Smith scenario is that That what he's done this year, coupled with what you're seeing from SUNY Lee, coupled with the prospects of NIL, allows us to get the kind of guys that would have skipped college basketball and gone straight semi-pro. All right. You can come, you can get the college experience, you can make a little money, and you can add some more hardware to your shelf, right? Because you have a team that has proven that in 1 year, you're going to have a great college experience and success. Jabari Smith came here. He said very plainly he wanted to win a championship at Auburn. He's got that right now, right? You can check that off the list. I have won a championship. He accomplished the mission he set out to do when he got here to Auburn University. He improved his draft stock. Like if Jabari Smith tries to go straight to the league or he goes semi-pro, I don't know for certain that he's the number 1 overall pick or highly regarded as the number 1 overall pick. He's still a first round pick, regardless of what he chooses to do. But I think his decision to come to Auburn has submitted him as one of those people who people are saying he could be the first overall pick, right? That looks really great to a recruit who's mulling over the decision of, if I'm going to go to college, which college am I going to go to for my only year of college basketball? Auburn looks like an attractive place to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can go there. You can be around. He's going to put you in position around players who are going to want to win a championship, around a team that is committed to doing that. And check. Yes, we did it. Next up, who wants to be the next Jabari Smith Jr.? That's really what Bruce Pearl is selling right now.
And he's not stifling how these guys play either. And as frustrating as it is as fans to see some of the shot selection and how these guys play so freely, he allowed these guys to play. And I think that is something that is attractive to guys as well, is that, hey, I actually get to do what I do at that school, just looking at how some of the guys like Wendell, KD, like Bruce trusts these guys to kind of make those types of plays. And so that has to be attractive as well. Mike, you got some thoughts?
Yeah, so it is obviously super important that when you get top talent, they perform like top talent when they're here. And it's not just that, but to Ike's point, for guys like Jabari, they're going to play 1 year. And we need to be able to say, come play at Auburn because your 1 year is going to be lit AF, right? We're going to be, we have the crazy sports culture. Fans are going to camp outside to watch you play, gymnastics, baseball, football. Like, it's going to be a whole experience for you in your 1 year in school before you go pro, and something you'll be able to look back on and say, I am part of a family that embraced me. And it was so much fun because Jabari, it's not even a question. It's not even a discussion at the end of the season whether he's coming back or not, right? He could, God forbid, suffer an injury and he's still going.
Right.
Nothing is bringing him back to college. So we have bemoaned this on the football side for years and years and years. Getting top talent that doesn't look like top talent or somehow doesn't develop or turn into. And it's just so refreshing to see on the basketball end that we have a coach that knows what to do with these guys when he gets them, because these guys are committing to Bruce Pearl. It's what they're doing. You can hate this statement all you want. These guys are committing to the coach first and foremost. The coach is using all the other things about Auburn to help sell the experience over, the other coaches who have proven track records developing talent. Bruce isn't the only one. So now we're battling the Coach K's and the Caliparis, right? And the, I don't know, like Will Wade, I guess, right? But you're battling these other guys that are consistently in the top, consistently getting the good recruits. And
like
it's
a Bill Self. Like
man, the Kansas and the North Carolina breeds. And it's just now, this is how you become a blue blood. You get top talent year in and year out, and you just keep replacing them, because I've asked him about this multiple times about how difficult it is, to build a program when you're only going to have a kid for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that kid has to have a phenomenal year. And then he's gone. That's what he's promising them, is the opportunity to develop. And if they've hit their max potential, it's just so hard. I've thought what some of these schools have been able to do over the years constantly. Kentucky literally had a year where their whole starting five went to the NBA in 1 year. All 5 guys just gone. And I was like, God, how difficult must that be when you build up a chemistry and a thing with these 5 guys, and all 5 of them left? I think it was the John Wall class. Wall, and I think, what was it? Karl Anthony Towns?
No,
Jamar-
it was Wall, Boogie.
I think it was Boogie. Was it Gilchrist? Was Gilchrist on that team?
I don't remember.
Oh, man, that lineup
Monk
was
was later.
ridiculous, man. I was just like, wow, like, they ain't going to keep none of these dudes? Not one is going to stay?
Yeah.
So, you know, the fact
that's why it was such a disappointment. Did they win that year? They won that year,
No,
did they?
They did not.
That's why I was so disappointed when they lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not going to get another shot with those guys.
Yeah.
Right. Next year for us, who's it going to be? It's going to be Trey Donaldson, right? Like, he's the next guy.
Yeah.
He's the next Sharif Cooper, pretty much. I've heard great things about this kid.
It's going to be interesting with Donaldson coming in, and Zep Jasper's already saying he's going to come back. Wendell still got eligibility. KD still has eligibility. Like, it's going to be very interesting at the guard position next year to see how Coach Pro handles that rotation. I'm looking forward to actually talking about that once we get into the season preview, because it should be a fun team to watch, because he's a decent shooter. But anyway, I don't want to get too far into next year. We still got business to handle this year.
There was an article on the Auburn Daily where it was like, hey, if you could pick one player over the last few years to come back to this team that you wish we had kept, and my answer was Isaac Okoro. I would have loved to see him play the second year. Can you imagine Isaac Okoro on this team? Just take him out and put
Isaac
Flanagan
Okoro would solve the problem that we're having right now at the 3.
Yep.
You put Isaac Okoro in at the 3, and this team is probably undefeated.
One of the best two-way players we've had come through, right? Like, scoring and defense. I mean, he can do everything. A physical specimen. Like, wow, this team would be unstoppable. Yeah. But again, that highlights the conundrum is that you're not going to keep kids like that year over year. And look at what he's doing in the NBA right now. So clearly, he was the real deal. And talent evaluation is not an exact science. Somebody got really mad at me on Twitter for this statement. But, watching Malik Willis throw in the combine, did anybody see he threw a ball 60 yards in the air?
I don't want to talk about this, man. Why we got to do this?
Like it was nothing.
Haven't been able to complete a deep ball with any consistency for 3 years, but this dude out here at the combine looking like
dropping dimes from heaven. Them balls was falling like manna. I was just like, whoa, what is going on? And he was in our QB room and we let him go. Now, before anybody tells me, but he didn't take it seriously, that's part of coaching.
That's culture.
That's culture. That's part of culture and coaching. Culture. You can coach attitude. Mm-hmm. Bruce Pearl is doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for getting back to basketball. Bringing my
but one of the things about that whole situation too, I think the thing that is good about the way that the basketball program is developing is it also allows you to be a little bit more selective with who you decide to take. That's a high prospect, right? Like,
right.
You're a struggling team and you just want to put more stars on the board. When you start doing recruiting stuff, you start taking guys that are 5 stars but don't fit, just so you can say you got a 5-star.
Got a 5-star, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start winning with 5 stars, then you can start to hand pick which of those 5 stars fit your program and go aggressively after them and make them understand, yes, you're a 5-star. Yes, you can play everywhere. You're a best fit for Auburn. Look at this guy right here. Circle him on the board. Watch him go through a thing. This is you. You're an upgrade from this person that we have coming back for next year, right? Like, no disrespect to Jalen Williams. His minutes evaporated because Jabari Smith Jr. is there. Jabari
Correct.
Smith is a definite upgrade over Jalen Williams, and Jalen Williams had a decent year last year, which
He
no
did.
one's going to sit here and tell me you'd rather Jalen Williams be starting at the 4 spot.
Right.
You just can't tell me that.
All right.
Stretch was coming back for a season. Walker Kessler, better player.
Right.
Dylan
So
Cardwell coming back. Walker Kessler, better player.
Can
You get to hand pick guys when you start winning games, and you don't have to just accept a star rating as a reason to bring a guy onto your team. And it helps you do that whole culture thing of like, yes, you are the guy, but there's other guys on this squad too.
Correct. Can you imagine Jabari sitting over politics or promises made to people, or you know what I mean? Like, can you imagine that?
But
That's I mean, you know, it's significant that you know, again, you just come in and he's going to play the best guy. Doesn't
That's
matter
true.
who it is.
But we also know that in the case of basketball, it's different because you know you only got 1 year. So if you convince somebody as good as Jabari Smith to come to your school, you have to make the most of him immediately for the next guy who's a one and done.
Sure.
And so you don't waste whatever you recruited him for. Like you in football, maybe it makes more sense because you know at least 3. Well, you used to know at least 3 years with a guy, but now that's kind of going out the door a little bit too.
Yeah.
And people are going to have to figure out, hey, if I'm going to promise you this playing time, I'm going to promise you this spot, I'm going to promise you that you're going to start. Well, when you get here, I better do that, or you're gone, and now my reputation is hurt with the next guy who plays your position, who I told, you know, I'm going to play you immediately. So it's changing a little bit. But basketball, it's always, at least for the last, 10 years we've had the one and done rule now?
Yeah, yeah, it is. I just think it's the same. I don't see much. The timelines may be different, but in principle, it's the same. Because in football, you may not be able to leave in a year, but they're damn sure bringing in another guy in that next year.
Yeah,
Sure.
Right. And if you don't have a culture that promotes the best player plays, it sucks, man. Can you imagine the whole idea of waiting your turn? That's why with the portal, you're seeing all these people jump.
yeah.
You know, because they still, after 1 year, they still think they're the guy.
Right.
But suddenly they can't see a path to playing time.
Right.
So, you know, to B's point, you can't really afford to do that in basketball. Now, even more so now with the portal. You get a
Right.
Jabari Smith, he better play. Even if he doesn't come as highly touted as Jabari, if he's got that sort of potential, you need a coach who can get that out of him quickly.
To that point, I got this question because I know that at one point, wasn't J.D. Davison for Alabama, wasn't he considering Auburn too?
Yeah, this was a thing, right? Okay, go.
So do you think
Sorry,
J.D.
ass.
Davison is the exact same player if he comes to Auburn?
He wouldn't be starting at Auburn.
He
Well,
either
comes off
wouldn't
the
be
bench for
starting,
them, but
Right.
I don't know. JD Davis is
the same player.
Make some Bama's
And I'm
mad.
not saying the same production like he still comes off the bench. I'm saying, is he as tentative a scorer? Is he as lackluster in effort? Because Nate Oates has been grilling his team every game they lose. Well, they didn't come out, which is mind-blowing to me because you are in charge of the culture and setting the tone for the effort. Every time he says that, it's like, you just telling us why you shouldn't have your job, buddy. I don't even know why he still has his job, making that excuse after losses. But anyway, I think there's a serious difference between Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates. And even in this, just taking on how you manage personnel, personalities, and effort, does J.D. Davison improve at whatever his shortcomings are? Or at the very least, don't you think his effort wouldn't be what it is if he was here?
No, he'd have to play with more effort or he wouldn't see the court. Like, it's just,
Yeah.
you can't have a team full of people who are giving max effort. If Simo, if he's set the bench as much effort as he plays with, and athleticism as he has, you can't tell me that, a guy with that much effort is not going to get in. That's why the reason why Cambridge is playing is because of the effort that he puts when he gets out on the court.
Facts.
Even though he looks like he's got 2 left feet and not just a left hand, Flanagan is still playing hard. He's not. Effort isn't the reason why. It can't seem to put it together. You can't lack effort and play for Auburn basketball right now. It's just not a thing.
Right.
Yeah. So to B's point, he would be playing better because it would, or he'd just be sitting.
Right.
Right.
because this coach demands it. And it just
And
doesn't
gets it.
matter who you are. Yeah, like, so the culture has to be there.
And your
That's
best
all I'm
player is out there giving that kind of effort too, right? Like it's not the guy, it's not just the guys on the bench coming in being energetic. Jabari Smith is out there giving max effort every game. Walker Kessler, max effort every game, right? So it's the entire culture is predicated on you're gonna bust your butt from the beginning of this game to the very end. And yeah, I just don't know that. And I don't think JD Davidson's not I think there's it's overhyped how he came in, and that's contributed to people feeling like he's such a bust. But I think he'll get it right.
He's still talented.
He'll never get it right against us, but
yeah, he's a talented kid.
Yeah.
Well, listen, let's go ahead and get to this giveaway. You guys know what we're giving away. We're giving away 2 hoodies.
We're doing 2 of them, too.
Just in time for it to be too warm to use them.
Not if you live in DC. We still got 30-degree days in here.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So.
Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We're about to go on bust this John real quick and get y'all up out of here.
41. What?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all tripping.
Oh, hashtag
Let me jump
get
in
your
here.
weight
I'll
up.
take one. I ain't got one yet.
I'm about to jump in.
Y'all playing.
41.
We're gonna do 2 of them, so I'm gonna hit the first one when we get to 50. So 5 more, and let's 4 more. Here we go. 1 more.
Dang, I'm gonna miss it, ain't it? It's all good. It's all good.
Oh wow, we jumped 10 just like that.
Okay. All right.
I saw you and that B Will.
Let's see here. Who we gonna have? Who we gonna get? Oh, that's not gonna be the winner. Solomon. Wait, Solomon.
He had some tickets
I
before.
feel like he's won.
Yeah.
Does that count as having one and needing to throw it back?
Let's
Is he
see
here? First off, is he here?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Solomon has won.
He hasn't won any merch, just tickets.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Okay. All right. Are you here?
Are you asking? Are we doing no repeats on any winning or no repeats just on merch?
I think just on merch.
Okay.
You get some merch. He can get some merch, but he still got to be
away
here.
from you, Solomon. I'm just saying.
You got to be here. Are you here?
He's even here.
Oh, there you go.
He's
there
here.
you go. He's here.
All right.
Already won it back. What was it?
Oh, he said running
no, wait. Hold on. Let's give the man a chance.
Solomon, was it just tickets or was it merch?
Yeah, if you won,
We know you won,
if
but
you won tickets, we'll send you it. But if it's merch, then we'll run it back.
let us know.
Well, they jumping in here now.
I got Lance down there. I see you in here.
Lance Dahl, get out of here. Pirate.
More people are.
You say you want
jumping in
tickets.
here.
He want tickets.
See,
So-
yeah,
Ticket-
so we
oh,
can
yeah,
get the merch.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
merch is
good,
yours,
bro.
brother.
You
Get the
good.
merch.
You good.
What?
Here's what we need you. What's that?
Now go ahead. Go ahead.
What we need you to do, Solomon. What you need to do.
Yep.
Email
Business
at the War Rapport, your mailing address and size, shirt size.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be on your way. Congratulations. Now.
All right. So we're gonna do this one more again.
Y'all ready? We're up to 65 now. Bam. Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Solomon. I've seen Scotty Davis' name a lot. John. Old Johnny John. I know John's in here.
I know he's
Johnny
coming in all
yeah.
the whole show.
Yeah, you know what to do.
Hopefully he just like leave right.
Let us know you're here, John. And while we don't do that, Corey. Let's see what I'm looking for. So Tyrone Long says
he just commented.
Mike G, you have raised my blood pressure with the Malik Willis comment. I need some gummies. What gummies, you ask? These gummies.
This segment of the War Rapport is brought to you in part by RogueShop.com. If you're in need of high-quality, all-natural herbs and extracts that contribute to a happy, healthy lifestyle, the Rogue Shop is the place for you. With a variety of products that contribute to a healthy sleep, lower stress, and a happy mood, the Rogue Shop has you covered. Visit them at drogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT today. Tell them the War Rapport sent you.
Hey, tell them the War Rapport sent you. The class.
Yes.
I read that wrong. I thought I'm so used to reading comments for trolls. I read that as the ass clown is here, and I was like, whoa.
Don't do that to yourself.
But I see my guy Bob Williams in the house. Listen, Bob sent us a thing. I haven't sent it to B yet because I
was gonna tell him Bob he ain't even sent it to B yet. So
yeah, I ain't sent it to him yet. But we had our pick'em challenge that Brian won because that's what he does. And Bob sent us this War Rapport plaque for B. The War Rapport pick'em challenge. Oh man,
not on me.
I want my bad.
There we go. So we got our War Rapport Pick'em Challenge. This is Brian. Brian won this. I thought there was supposed to be two. I only got the one, Bob. So if there's supposed to be another one, let me know. But we're gonna be sending that to B, so he can hang it up
right behind you. Put it over your left shoulder.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the drape, so I can't put that right there. But
he killed it on the Pick'em Challenge. Then this is some fine Italian craftsmanship. I don't know if Bob's Italian, but
I'm about to say
Bob Williams does not sound Italian at all.
You don't know. He could be like 10%. But thanks, Bob, for sending that. When I got it in the mail, I was just like, I'm not expecting any packages today. And then I went down and I opened it up, and I was like, well, this is cool. So we got a lot of talented people in our War Rapport community. Our guy that does the drawings, James Coleman, has sent us a lot of cool drawings, over the year, and so we appreciate Bob doing that. There's supposed to be one more for our girl Susan, who won the Bowl Pick'em Challenge as well too, I think. So as soon as we get that one, we'll send it out to Susan. But thanks, Bob, for that. That was pretty sweet.
That is pretty cool. You know what else is pretty cool? Jabari Smith, player of the game.
Hey.
Against South Carolina, your fans have voted. You've spoken up. He scored 21 points, 5 of 13, 6 boards, 2 assists, a block, a steal in 29 minutes. Also, against Mississippi State, he led all scorers with 27 points and 10 boards. He's definitely stepped into his role, and he's definitely come on strong as the season has progressed. He's just that dude. Guys, your thoughts on Jabari and kind of, what he's done to kind of cement himself as a potential top pick in the next year's NBA draft. But he appears to be, I think, is he a finalist for the Wooden, or is he a semi? I know he's a semifinalist. I know they bigged up the cat from Kentucky, but again, he's Yeah.
There are it's Chet Holmgren, Jabari Smith, and Paolo Banchero.
That's a kid from Duke, I think.
Okay. Some kid from Wisconsin, Johnny Davis, Colin Gillespie at Villanova, Jaden Ivey from Purdue, EJ Liddell from Ohio State. A bunch of people who are just not going to be Jabari. Drew Time from Gonzaga, so they got 2 on the list, and then Oscar Tshiebwe. So,
and he may be the favorite for that.
Tshiebwe?
He may be.
I don't know. I don't agree with it, but whatever.
He may be.
He's a good player.
He's good.
He's good, but just talk about Jabari and just how critical this guy is to our tournament run. Go ahead, B.
Well, early in the season when we had everything firing on all cylinders and people hadn't quite figured out the pick and roll action between Wendell and Kessler, Jabari was still trying to figure out how to flip that switch, how to find that aggression. He never looked lost like a deer in headlights, but he also didn't look like he knew exactly what he wanted to do and when and how he wanted to do it. And over the last 3 weeks, what we've seen is him really realize, oh, no, I am that guy, huh? This is well within my means to take this over, to shoot this shot, to get up over this defender, to even put this on the floor and to dunk. which Mike wasn't sure if Jabari could do because he had never done it. But he is now fully realizing his power, and we have needed him in a way that we did not need him early in the season because the offense seems to stagnate so frequently as we look for ways to stop turning over the ball. Our guard play has just been erratic, so Jabari is a stabilizing force. He keeps us in games very frequently. He is the one thing that keeps us from a lead that or a deficit that we have from getting extended, so we don't have so far to fight back. He keeps us right there, so our defense is going to hold the other team down. And if it wasn't for Jabari Smith on this team, man, he was a luxury the first 20 games of the season. Now he has been a necessity for the last 8. So I'm glad we got him. He's stepping into it. It's going to be interesting to see now that we know what we've gotten him. Everybody else sees it too. How much Bruce works through him instead of just trying to make the guards go and get us the same action that had been working for us. How much Jabari becomes the focal point. Him coming down off screens and hitting shots, or really him distributing, is going to have to be something that we do often because teams are going to know, listen, we can't let that dude get it. Great. Well, that means somebody should be open or easily open, and that action is going to determine how far we go in the tournament. So I'm hoping Jabari can take a little more weight on the shoulders because we're going to need him to carry it.
Ike, thoughts on Jabari at this point in the season?
I mean, he's growing into the kind of player that he needs to be. I still would love to see him be able to facilitate a little better because I think that would allow for us to give him the ball on more possessions early in the possession and just kind of play through him. And he's not a black hole, where it's like he's going to get the ball and he's going to shoot, but it's not always get him the ball and he's going to make an assist off of it or make the play that is going to get your team in the best position. It's normally he gets a touch, and if it's not a situation where it's a one-on-one, he's just going to give it back up and go through the offense again. Or he's going to shoot it. But he is. I liked that he took the challenge from the South Carolina guy yesterday who was like trying to DM up, and he was like, all right, well, we finna go to the gym real quick. And now he still got to work on. That's why I think I said this in our chat. That's why the Kevin Durant comparisons are not accurate, because Kevin Durant gets that one-on-one with that young man, and he's on Sports Center. that young man went on Sports Center. Kevin Durant had caught that one-on-one. Now Jabari was trying to, do a little shake, but he wasn't really giving him nothing. KD would have gave him that little double rock crossover that he does, and he'd have sent his ankles to the nether realm. But Jabari is not quite that guy, but he knows who he is. He is a face up, couple of dribbles, get to work type of dude. And so we just need to make sure that we're continuing to get him the ball in positions where he's most effective, and he's going to be out there giving dudes work, man. And I like the fact that he's stepping up to the challenge of, we need a bucket. I got you. I'm going to make a bucket. Mississippi State, he's the game tying shot because he's like, we need a bucket. Give me the ball. He went to work, got us a bucket, right? And so that's the guy we need him to be. And he has grown into that role tremendously over the season.
Got a question for you, B. Will, from Low Note here about the offense. We know what teams in the SEC has been doing, defending the pick and roll. What are our expectations when we get into the tournament and we're playing non-conference opponents?
It completely depends on the opponent.
Yep.
They know what we are bad at. Everybody knows what we're bad at. So now the cat's out the bag. It's going to be whether or not Bruce has some different things that people are going to be very well prepared for. Wendell and Kessler pick and roll. They are. That's not going to get us the yield that it got us earlier. But what they wouldn't be prepared for is we ran some Jabari Kessler, action, but we didn't lean on it. So now it's going to be showing that, see how they defended it. And the same with Jabari and Wendell. Two people who, when we know Wendell can distribute, he may be able to get his shot and get it dropping, but we'll just see. And it's going to come down to how disciplined our team's going to be able to play our ball handlers. That's really, honestly, our guards. If you can defend our guards well, frustrate KD, get him into some over aggressiveness, take a charge, strip Wendell, because all of them except for Zep will dribble their way into trouble. And if teams have seen that and make us do that, then they can put us in a hole. So it depends on the team. Everybody isn't equipped to do that. Everybody isn't defensively sound enough with perimeter defenders that can actually put our ball handlers in trouble. Everybody doesn't have people who will willingly put their body. It almost entirely comes down to how well do teams defend. If they defend well and are disciplined, they can get us in trouble.
Before we get to our last segment, Mike G, any closing thoughts going into the SEC tournament, man?
Well, going back to Jabari, right? Like, I don't think that as a raw prospect, we could have run the offense through him early in the season. Now that he's developed as a player, like, you know, we're seeing the culmination of a full season of development for him. And he is at a point where you can run the offense through him, which is great. So even his in-season development, like, he's not the same player he was in November, not by a long stretch. And that's going to be important because we will need to start to run through him to open up opportunities for other guys, which means teams are going to have to game plan for Jabari Smith. I don't know necessarily early January if you were game planning particularly for Jabari, but in this tournament, teams will be. It's going to be a anybody but Jabari Smith type of attitude that we're going to see from teams. Like, just don't let this guy beat you. That's how good players are treated. Just the respect they're paid from opposing defenses. It's you know, they're going to acknowledge if you're going to leave that dude open, he's going to burn you, and it's going to be really difficult for you to win. So we're really going to see what Jabari is made of up over these first few SEC tournament games, and then going into the NCAA tourney, because teams are you only get one shot at this. There's no tomorrow. So I bet my bottom dollar that teams are going to sell out to stop Jabari. And we're still going to need other guys to step up and hit shots and make them pay for that strategy. So Jabari Smith is in a place where we're going to need him to take over a game, and it may not be scoring. It may just be demanding so much attention that other guys have opportunities, and then facilitating and dishing and making good decisions with the ball rather than taking the hero shot. He's still got to trust his teammates. Can't stress that enough. He still has to trust his teammates if we're going to go deep into this tournament. I think this year, but I'm glad to see that he's got the ability to take over the game in the final minutes, particularly if we need him to. You need a guy who could just step up and take a shot and who wants to take the shot. I think that should be Jabari. He had a pull-up in his last game. He had a pull-up three that was impressive from the top of the key. Like, you remember the shot I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
He was guarded. And it was a quick raised up and just hit kind of a line drive three. Man, if he's hitting those type of shots, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck beating us. No dribbles required. Just catch and shoot wherever he's at. And and he's tall enough to just raise up over any defender. That shot is unguardable.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, listen, we're getting to our final segment. So with that,
what did we see?
I believe, it's my feeling, that we could see 3 SEC teams get to the Elite Eight this year. Of course, I'm liking Auburn, obviously, but I like what I'm seeing in a Tennessee team. Tennessee they have gotten hot at the right time. Arkansas is a good team, of course. Kentucky is there, but what these 3 teams have in common to me is that they do play good defense. They have some key guys that they can go to get offense, but the way they make teams uncomfortable, I still remember what Kentucky was able to do on the road against Kansas. They made Kansas look real mid in their own house. And again, Tennessee under Barnes has been pretty good. And again, they're peaking at the right time. And so I think these teams have what it takes to go far in the tournament. And I wouldn't be surprised if not all three of them make it, depending on where they get put. And, they may have to run into each other. We may have to run into each other at some point. But depending on where we're placed in the tournament, you could potentially see three of these teams.
Who are your three
and
teams?
These would Kentucky, Auburn, Tennessee.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Bruce Pearl have a tweet recently where he was talking about what a travesty it would be if too many SEC teams ended up in the same? Like, I thought I saw something where he was talking about, like, hey, man, this is bad for college basketball if you put all these teams in the same bracket.
Yeah, because we've already played each other. Nobody really wants to see that rematch again. Let them play other teams and fight their way there. I think it's silly to have to go against guys. Like, we played each other regular season, played each other in the SEC tournament. We don't need to see that again unless they earn their way into the Elite Eight Final Four scenario.
Yeah.
Right.
To C's point, I was looking at the bracket to see, Kentucky. I mean, in this scenario, how Lenardi has it, Auburn and Kentucky would meet in the Elite Eight. And then Tennessee in the South region would probably end up versus. Now they would have to beat Duke to get through to the Elite Eight. So. They're actually looking pretty good to get through to the Elite Eight, honestly. And then Alabama, they've got a 5 seed, which is tough. But that bracket looks super weak, though. I mean, I could see a scenario where Alabama got through to the Elite Eight because they'd have to beat like South Dakota.
Absolutely not. They shouldn't even be in the tournament, honestly.
Yeah, and maybe or they'd have to go through Gonzaga that they already beat.
Round of 32. That's their ceiling.
That's their ceiling?
Yes.
UCLA. They may meet UCLA in the round of 32.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with B on this one. I think they're around of 32. I really do.
I
just don't think Alabama plays like, again. I've said this all season about them. If they're hitting their 3-pointers, they're hard to beat. All right, but I don't think they play well enough consistently on defense to make a deep tournament run. Like, they're going to have to figure out how to play consistently on defense to do it, and they just haven't done that.
Yeah, defense is effort, and it's either who you are, especially at this point in the season. Like, if you still had to sell guys on defending the end of the regular season, when your tournament seeding is still at stake, hell, your tournament ticket might still be at stake, and we got to convince you. And come on, like, no, man, y'all, that's who y'all are. Y'all are a mediocre effort team with some talent, so I expect you to get mediocre efforted out of the tournament early.
So Lunardi has Bama as a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's on a 5 seed.
5 will play a what?
11, I think.
11.
12,
5 and 12, which is a dangerous, like,
I could see Bama getting Cinderella. Like, I really could see that happening to them.
But see, I
mean, who are they playing right now? That's really who is the 12.
Yeah.
If it's a Murray State, then it's like,
Oh, yeah. See, and that's the problem. The problem is the way they see tournaments is the bigger conference teams that are bubble teams aren't going to be lower than like 7 or 8. And the smaller conference teams that were actually really good teams are going to get the double-digit seeding. And you're thinking, oh, well, that's, the team, whoever the second best team in Murray State's conference is. Listen, those teams are not bad teams. They're just smaller teams, usually smaller players, and that's the difference. The skill and the consistency is there for those teams. And getting matched up with Bama, let's say it's like a 11-6. Somebody's going to look and say, oh, well, Bama should be. No, man, that team's not a bad team, and Bama's been mediocre in effort all year. You don't think a team that has juniors and seniors on it, mature players who have been consistent all season, can't beat up and down effort team just because they're from a big conference? Man, get out of here, man. That's how you're going to get embarrassed.
Yeah, I want Auburn to get the East bracket for selfish reasons because it means their Sweet 16 and Elite 8 will be in Philly, and that's an hour and a half for me, so I'll definitely be there. But the way Lunardi has this laid out, that's a crappy draw, man. In our bracket, Auburn, Arkansas, Illinois, Villanova, Kentucky, Michigan State. That's a
I
rough bracket.
I hope Lenardi's wrong. Yeah.
That's a rough bracket, man. Like I hope that they.
And I agree, Corey, based on that alone.
Yeah, because I was like, yo, like if this is the way it's laid out, we gotta crack. I mean, this is the worst. That makes us like I don't know if they're doing that. Are we like I know because Gonzaga is the #1 overall seed, so they get the technically the easiest pass.
Yeah,
but this is the hardest by far, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's honestly at this point better to be the best 2 seed than be the worst 4 seed. I mean, it's best the worst 1 seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, this isn't like I don't know. I mean, we would have to as he has it laid out, we would have to run through like Seton Hall or Wake Forest in the round of 32, and then Arkansas or Illinois after that, realistically. And then on the other end of that, again, you've got Villanova, Michigan State, and Kentucky, and Notre Dame all duking it out to try to get to that Sweet 16, Elite 8 deal. But like, I just think Gonzaga's pull was crap, honestly. Because to B's point, like they're likely out in the round of 32, so. Yeah. You know, they may not even. I'm sorry, Alabama's out in the round of 32, so they may even just see Alabama. And man, I don't know. I just don't think this has been fair, but whatever.
Real quick question, I'll pose it to you, Ike. Stephen Nash super chat says, "Appreciate you watching. Appreciate the super chat. Do y'all think the higher frequency of timeouts has improved our sets as much as I do? Bruce has modified a bit. I think it's necessary for this team."
He's talked about it.
Yeah, I think that he definitely realizes kind of what scenarios he needs to be. Like he called the timeout to draw up something going into the half yesterday.
Refreshing.
Right? We got the ball. He called a timeout. We got a set, and we scored off of it. Now it wasn't the set. It wasn't the set play. They came out and trapped unexpectedly, and that's the bounce pass that B Will was talking about that KD had. But we ended up getting, I think, a high percentage look because we had a plan. What we've done is we've come out with no plan, or, the Florida game, we had a plan, but he realized he probably should have called another timeout and changed that plan. So yeah, I think it is allowing us to be a little bit better in scenarios. And Bruce Pearl he's a masterful out of bounds coach, both defensively and offensively. Like he just knows how to make it difficult for teams to inbound the ball. He knows how to get good sets when we inbound it. So I do think that that's been a benefit to this team in a lot of different scenarios of just, hey, everybody understands what we need to be doing, what's supposed to be happening right now. And let's get ourselves in the optimal position to do that and not be, listen, you can't take them home with you. You don't get they're not rollover timeouts. You don't push them to the next game. So you might as well use them.
Right. B Will? Sure, sir.
You know what? What I see is that UNC looks like a problem. Now, I'm not worried about UNC. I doubt we even get to see them in the tournament, but that will be interesting. I'm sure they will be back for blood because, we got them last time in the tournament. But UNC was a team that middle of the season, the first third of the ACC conference schedule, they were losing to plenty of people, everybody. They looked mediocre. Their best player, I remember watching them. They played a game on a Monday night, and their best player was like 30% from the floor, and they won the game. It was a lot of foul calls and stuff like that. The same kind of home cooking that a lot of college basketball teams get, but they just beat Duke. And it's not that Duke was an all-world team. They just had a lot of talent. They got a lot of prestige for that to be Coach K's, the end of his legendary career, well, regular season career, you could say. That was a shocker because that the entire team is invested in their last Coach K game at Cameron Stadium being a win. And that UNC team, they beat them. Like they are starting to believe in the same way we've talked about this with football and basketball. Getting better over the course of the year is the absolute best case scenario for teams. Playing your best ball going into the postseason. It doesn't always work out in football because you don't have a lot of slack to lose a lot of games and still be in the postseason. But in basketball, you got time. So I'm interested to see what this UNC team does as they get into ACC play. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win it because of how they're playing right now. them, maybe Miami. But if Duke matches back up against them, they'll kind of be on a revenge kick too. So, but I wanted to shout out. I think the coach is it Hubert Davis, the coach at UNC.
Yep.
He's done a good job. He's done a good job. A lot of props to him. He's done a good job, and I'm just hoping we go further than them so we can, Walker Kessler. We got the best end of that deal.
UNC.
Yeah, I was about to say, did you know that Walker Kessler?
Palm has UNC as an 11 seed, and they would realistically meet Tennessee in the.
That's a dangerous spot for them, actually.
That's a dangerous spot because, oh my God, because they had a very ugly first half of the season. And as far as memory goes, people wouldn't be thinking much of them. They weren't even ranked. They weren't even ranked this weekend. They beat Duke. They'll be ranked tomorrow.
Yeah. Palm also has no other SEC teams. He puts Auburn in the Midwest bracket, and there are no other SEC teams in that bracket with us.
Okay. Cool.
So it'll be interesting to see. And then he put Arkansas in the South. Arkansas and Alabama got the same bracket. Kentucky and LSU got the same bracket. So he's got the teams more evenly spread out. And then Tennessee is all on their lonesome, as is Auburn. So he gave us a much more favorable bracket, I think. Auburn is the one bracket in the Midwest, and then he's got Kansas. I don't like it. I mean, in terms of fan travel, that's not a great pull for fans in the Midwest bracket. It's not a great pull because once you get to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, it's going to be a much tougher travel for a lot of fans to go see that, as opposed to the East bracket where you're in Philadelphia and it's an easy flight in. And I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe these brackets won't. I hope we get the East. I just hope it doesn't pan out the way Lenardi thinks it's going to pan out, that bracket. Like, I want us to be in the East. I just don't want it to be Kentucky and Arkansas and every other team that could win it.
Gotcha. All right. Who's next?
I'll go next. Listen, Walker Kessler is a finalist for the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Center Award. He won't win it, but he should. Now, they're going to give this to Sheboy, but I would argue that his performance on defense this year is more impressive than anything Sheboy has done, or Sheboy or whatever has done this year. His impact on the game, I think Sheboy leads in rebounds, right?
Yeah,
Walker's not bad. Yeah, right. Walker's not. But we also have a guy who has multiple triple-doubles this season. Sheboy has 0 triple-doubles. Our guy has 2. Could have had 3. He came up like 1 rebound short of like 3 of them. And his impact on the game in terms of defense, I think, outweighs anything that Sheboy does, because it's not like the unrecorded stat of shots altered for Walker Kessler is immense. He should be more than a finalist for this award. I mean, God, man, I don't know. I think that he should win it. I think his impact on the game and his designation as Auburn's most important player should win him this award. Blue-blooded Kentucky Sheboy will get it, but Walker definitely deserves it. I think he's the most deserving. And that's not to say that Sheboy is trash. I don't think he is. I just think Walker was better this year. I think he's more important to our team than Sheboy is to Kentucky.
I mean, everybody's important to Kentucky because if they have a player missing, then losses don't count. So,
Ty is clearly their most important player.
Yeah,
Ty's out,
and then Sheboy.
Well, I don't know, man. I just think Walker has done a great job this year. People keep asking me, "Do you think he's going to come back?" And
it's unlikely.
I could see a scenario where it might be good for him to come back, but like it'll be more of a personal decision for him. Like, he just has to love Auburn, and hopefully he falls in love with somebody and You know, he's got other reasons to want to stay another year other than just basketball, right? Like,
He wished a relationship on them to keep him in school.
yeah, like why not? Right? If you have Auburn ladies, if you're out there, get your thirst traps ready. We need Walker for another year. Thirst trap that dude into another year at Auburn. But
A literal ball and chain is what we're trying to get.
We don't want you to go. Please don't leave me. But yeah, I think Isaac's right. I think it's unlikely that he stays another year. But what a pickup! Yeah. What a pickup he was in this offseason. This team easily loses 3 more games without Walker Kessler.
Oh, way more.
For sure.
More.
Yeah, sure. There's no way we're 27-4 without Walker Kessler. So, you know, he is our most important player. I just, you know, I want to see him win the accolades, and I'm happy that he chose Auburn. Man, he left the blue blood to come to Auburn.
Yeah, it worked out well for him.
It worked out well for him. So, you know, if he decides he wants to give us 1 more year for through some act of God, I would not complain. And to be able to play with Trey Donaldson next year, man, one can only.
I don't know if that means anything to Walker Kessler. He just got through playing with Jabari Smith. So,
well, Trey Donaldson distributes the ball.
Yeah, I know.
Right, so that could. I mean, I don't know, man. That could be dangerous next year.
Yeah, also be dangerous making millions, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, that'll be dangerous.
So, anyway, Ike, what you got, sir?
Yeah, I'm actually going to big up one of our sponsors, prizepicks.com. If you guys are into baseball and softball, they have this new thing where you're able to do picks per inning now. So at every inning, you can determine whether or not you feel like the pitcher is going to go above or below a certain number of runs sacrificed in that inning. So it's going to be interesting going into the baseball season now, which both Auburn baseball and softball are playing well. I think softball just got another W today. Baseball, the bats are starting to come alive a little bit. We've always had decent pitching, so might be interesting to follow along with that. And if you do follow baseball, man, check them out, prizepicks.com. Use code RAPPORT to get in there and maybe win a little extra bread while supporting your Auburn Tigers. Inning per inning is really interesting, though, right? Because you can see kind of how the game is going, and you can go to an inning and be like, hey, I think this inning we do XYZ, right? So I think that's a very interesting way to kind of keep it interesting throughout the game. So check that out when you get an opportunity.
Yeah, our baseball team is 10-2.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're playing a lot better. The first couple of games it looked a little rough, but the hitting has come alive, and so it's going to be interesting once we SEC play. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm waiting for too. I see how we look in SEC play.
They beat Kansas State 12-1. Troy 13-1, Yale 9-0, Alabama State 13-7, UAB 16-1, Rhode Island 16-0, and then 12-0. Dang. Okay. Everything school. Hashtag everything school.
What a spring, man.
Yeah, they've got it rolling for sure. They got 1 more game versus Rhode Island today.
Yeah, they're playing right now.
They're playing right now, yeah. And hopefully they come out of that one. SEC play starts on March 17th against Ole Miss. About 3-game series versus Ole Miss.
Yeah. Looking forward to it, man. See how good we are. Of course, you never know until you get in conference play how they really are and how they stack up. This is a really good conference in baseball as well. So, yeah. So I'm just curious to see how we stack up once we get into conference play. Mike G, people need to become a patron, man. Give them the details, sir.
Yeah, listen, hit that homepage on YouTube, click the join button, become a patron. This is a great way to support our content. We're growing. We've grown a lot this offseason. We grew a lot last offseason. So we want to grow more even next offseason. You guys can help us with that by becoming patrons. So we appreciate everybody for your support and for joining our community in that way. Also, we're asking our community to help us support the Lee County Humane Society to help them hashtag save all the puppies. So go to the About section of our YouTube channel, hit this link, and help them save all the puppies. This is the good that we've chosen to put back into the world. You guys can be a part of that. We appreciate you for doing that. Congratulations to our raffle winner. If you didn't win, you can just buy one. Go to thewarreport.com. You'll see that Lobtown hoodie in there, as well as other merch that we are selling. This is another great way to support our content, so we appreciate you guys for that. We're on podcast. Check us out on every single podcast platform, growing in that arena. So we're putting out podcast exclusive content now. You can get a piece of that if you go over to Apple and just hit subscribe. Shout out to Prize Picks. I mentioned them. They're doing some interesting things over there. This is a great way to get engaged with college sports and win a little money at the same time. So prizepicks.com, use code rapport to get your match bonus. And our title sponsor, University Ace Hardware. Check them out at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right next to the movie theater. They have been great partners for us, so we appreciate them. Now, tomorrow, we are dropping another building report. So if you missed the one with Robbie Ashford, highly recommend you go back in, check that one out. Our next one is with TJ Finley, so we're kind of covering the quarterback room here. TJ is the incumbent going into the spring. And we had a very interesting conversation with TJ. Great young man, took some time to sit down and talk with us about the things that he's doing this spring to prepare for the quarterback battle. So I know we've been talking a lot of basketball, but spring practice starts on the 14th of March. That's less than 10 days from now. Spring practice starts, and we're going to be diving into all things Auburn football. It's going to be a really interesting offseason. And most interestingly, it's going to be this quarterback race. Guys, this might be the first real quarterback race we've seen ever. What quarterback race can you
history?
Say? Like,
Ever?
Since like 2000. Like, what quarterback race was real?
You
Other
muted
than the
out.
Chris
You
Todd year, I don't know that there was a year where you didn't go into the season pretty much knowing who the starting QB was going to be.
Mm-hmm. So this will be interesting. You know, when Cam came in, they just named, after spring was over, they just named him starter, right? Nick
That was a
Marshall,
good
Jeremy
decision.
Johnson, like maybe, I don't know, it just seemed like, you know, whatever. But since, I mean, I just not been a lot, and we have a legit quarterback room. So I'm excited to hear from these kids. I think Robbie Ashford has the right attitude. And TJ Finley, man, listen, he's ready to go. He's been working and just ready to go in there. A lot of people have written him off. And most importantly, he is not writing himself off. So TJ is a doubt me at your own peril type of attitude right now, but he's ready to get in here. He understands what this coach wants, right? And all indications are that, you know, he's doing what he can to try to, you know, mix it up and win that starting spot this year. So we'll see how that turns out. But I'm excited to see all these guys compete this fall. And Finley is a part of that. So shout out to him for taking some time to sit down to talk to us. He's a really good young man.
And
Shout
let's
out
be
to all of
clear,
you.
we
Go
want to
ahead, Ike.
talk to all of these quarterbacks, man. So if you guys know a way of get us in touch with some more of them, send them our way, man. We want to talk to everybody who's going to be competing in this spring quarterback room. So we're looking forward to getting the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, definitely trying to get Zach Calzado on a building rapport as well too. So, you know, if we could get him to sit down with us, sometimes, you know, I tend to shy away from freshmen. So I would like to talk to Holden Gariner, but at the end of the day, he's trying to adjust to college life, and interviews may not be at the top of his list. But for these guys who are seasoned veterans, right, and have been on the team, we definitely want to sit down and talk with them and just kind of see where they're at and what they're working on and how they're preparing to try to win the job.
For sure. Shouts out to all you guys who hung out with us today. We appreciate you. Appreciate you guys if you watched us on replay, man. Thanks for giving us your time. If you're on social media, you know what to do, guys. Share this video. Use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. Smash that like button before you get out of here. Also, if you found our page, if you're new to our page, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We do go live at random times when there's news that breaks. So you definitely want to be plugged in when we do that. Also, I mentioned social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're at The War Rapport. And we are at TW Rapport on TikTok. Guys, that's it for now. Definitely catch up with you guys this week. A big, important week in basketball. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
War Eagle.